Now, we are, oh, just a moment. Yes, we are Komochkina Elena Anatolievna, it's me, Selezneva Tatiana Vladimirovna, and Akimova Natalia Vladimirovna are the teachers of the Department of Linguodidactics of Moscow Region State University. And in this presentation, we are going to dwell on a very important problem of foreign language teaching to non-linguistic students, technical students. To be more exact, I'll speak about the issues of blended learning and foreign language teaching of non-linguistic students through combining online lecturing with the traditional approach. So it is well known that now there is a growing tendency of studying foreign languages through internet resources. And in this regard, the revolutionary surge in electronic communication studies in different sciences entirely are justified. In general, these studies consider the nature of electronic communication, its status in verbal, its status in global academic community, its interconnections within entire human communication sphere, and things of this sort. You can see the indication links to the research in the field on the screen. So the methodological relevance of internet resources and electronic communication in foreign language teaching of non-linguistic students is essential, because the availability of unique, authentic language data enables mastering a foreign language and motivating students for further self-awareness and self-discovery. In addition, the advances of science, along with innovative methods and technologies of education and widespread digitalization and computerization have given rise to e-learning platforms such as Moodle, iSpring, and Teachbase, and others which you can see on the screen as well. So modern worldwide practices demonstrate the tendency for modifying the traditional ways of organizing educational process, which has been stimulated by a variety of factors. Student-oriented approach to education developed by Hayden 2017. On the one hand, universal informatization, widespread IT and communicative technologies, expansion of social educational networks, professional online computers, massive open online courses. These are the signs of global changes which are needed in the whole educational paradigm, with the subsequent adjustment of goals, objectives, and principles described fully in works shown on the screen. And modern society seems to be in great demand for professionals with adaptive flexibility, people who are able to process vast amounts of information, obtain and update knowledge, as well as master professional competencies. It's evident that the traditional system of foreign language teaching does not meet these demands to the full extent. Therefore, a fundamental reform of tertiary education should be launched. The traditional instructive paradigm placed a teacher as an instructor who hands on the touching according with the program. Nowadays, the ideas of constructivism are in the limelight. It may imply that it is students who construct their own cognitive awareness by incorporating new information into previously acquired knowledge. And at taking into account the data of cognitive psychology, the relative autonomy of a student and the responsibility for his own subject, study together with the teacher forms the basis of education to train competent specialists, professionally mobile, specialists prepared for self-organization, self-discipline, self-reflection, as well as lifelong self-teaching. A blended learning technique which is compliant with all these requirements could be put into practice with the proposed alternative module study of a subject via remote technologies within traditional practices. And it's apparent that the given mode of education could not be effective unless the educational process is methodically valid in terms of its purposes, technologies, content, techniques. And keeping this in mind, we have designed an LSP course for non-linguistic students, which could contribute to improving the learning process and serve as an efficient tool to effectively communicate in their future professional community. In this context, the problem statement is the relevance of the subject, relevance of the suggested course for non-linguistic students in terms of the developed methodology, learning goals, teaching audio-video materials and expected outcomes at the Moscow Region State University. Our study was aimed at showing the possibilities of some internet technologies for foreign language teaching on the one hand, and on the other providing some theoretical and practical evidence that foreign language teaching could be an efficient tool of developing academic e-communicative skills of non-linguistic students. And we could maintain that abstract and thesis writing skills are to be an integral part of contemporary education and academic communication, and a focal point of teaching oral and written speech to non-linguistic students. The pursuit of the goal implies considering the following issues. Firstly, the overview of special literature related to developing research and professional communicative skills. Secondly, the analysis of authentic vocabulary and grammar material. And thirdly, the description of technology of teaching abstract writing in a foreign language with the element of lexical approach, which was introduced by Lewis in 1997. Now we find it necessary to touch upon the general research abilities which are to be formed by the technical students. So as is known, tertiary professional education has developed general research abilities such as analysis and prognostication, as well as intellectual and creative potential of students, along with professional development. In the course of scientific activities, students acquire research competence for future career growth. And traditionally, scientific research involves several stages which might be replicated in students' activity. As you can see on the screen, that's orientation, problematizing, research methodology, planning, and other things. And integrating general scientific guidelines and educational objectives of professional communication might lead us to a conclusion that foreign language teaching for specific purposes, its content and methods are to be brought closer to practical needs of students to acquire scientific communicative skills for future professions. In this part of the presentation, I will describe briefly the suggested course of foreign language blended learning for non-linguists. The curriculum accounts for 36 hours of auditory work and 20 hours of self-study, and it provides for integration into traditional studies of authentic text, a series of video lectures on the topic as to how to write an academic article in a foreign language, and a system of training exercises for consolidation of grammar and vocabulary. The conceptual base of the suggested technology is rooted in Minsky's frame model, some notions of functional grammar, along with the extended version of the lexical approach worked out by Lewis in the 1990s. We must see that in accordance with Lewis's theory, any sentence may be presented as a formulaic phrase, and therefore an abstract may be considered, may also considered as a set of these phrases. The following sentence may serve as an example. The aim of our today's presentation was to report on the results of the investigation. The analysis shows that it consists of several variable elements. And the aim of our today's presentation is to report on the results and so on. While studying, students can remember the phrase as a whole without splitting it into elements, and as a result, they could use it whenever they need to formulate the aim of their paper to make their speech sound more fluent. The video lectures on preparing how to write an abstract to an academic paper, and vocabulary and grammar items of writing an abstract to an academic paper. present methodical recommendations of how to write an academic abstract in a foreign language. The lectures are based upon fundamental ideas of the lexical approach to language teaching, which argues that each utterance consists of a set of collocation chunks with variable elements, and that grammar items are subordinate to lexical ones. In addition to, oh, I'm sorry. Just a moment, I'm very sorry. In addition, we should state that each academic utterance are based the same rules of mathematical logic, so that a model based on either conference or symposium materials could be designed with well outlined stages of a presentation. In accordance with the model, a stereotyped academic report fits well into a rigid framework of formal logic in terms of linguistics. And firstly, there exists a speech intention, as for example, in presenting the subject of the research. Secondly, there are provided several forms of linguistic expressions. For example, the aim was to report on, to show, to present the results of the investigation. It may be concluded now that by building an abstract as a series of logically coherent phrases, we could form a grammatically correct text. And at last, I must say the final aim of the course is to form an ability to write a text on professional relevant subjects. A few words about the course itself, just a few words. The course comprises several modules. First, the basics of the course is a set of exercises, such as answer questions after listening to the video lecture, which tenses are used in the abstract, make 3 statements to the lecture on nanotechnology, challenge the thesis of the text and give your arguments in 2 or 3 sentences, and so on. Creative tasks might be as follows: title the slide of the presentation, formulate the hypothesis of the text, describe the form and of the thought. Secondly, the course involves the study of grammar items with the use of authentic materials. And in addition, each lecture is accompanied by a block of exercises on basic grammar items of primary importance for writing an academic text. The experience of teaching in professional institutions shows that the following grammar phenomena would appear relevant for oral and written communication in a foreign language: a simple sentence construction, active and passive voice forms, the key sentences such as present simple, past simple, present perfect, and so on. Thirdly, a glossary of specially selected lexical units, including general and special academic terminology, sets of useful phrases, expressions grouped according to functional stylistic principles. And fourthly, the course provides for compiling glossaries of general and special lexical units. Students take down useful expressions after listening to a lecture or reading a text and compile their own glossaries. And gradually, autonomously or under teacher's guidance, students succeed in writing academic abstracts and even papers. Regrettably, I know, just a few minutes. Regrettably, however, that not all groups made the same progress, not all the same. Yes, then I won't speak about it in more detail. The next slide is, I'll turn on to the next slide. The suggested technology of integrating traditional methods with online lecturing as an interactive component was tested in the natural environments. That means that the scheduled classes with third-year students of physics faculty at Moscow Region State University and National Research Nuclear University. The experiment was conducted traditionally in 3 stages. The first stage, diagnostic, involved monitoring of the learners during studies. The second stage, formative of the pedagogical experiment, was characterized by the examination of the issue concerning monitoring students' professional competence level. And the third evaluative was targeted at the elaboration of criteria for the assessment of students' skills. Furthermore, the results of the survey demonstrated that the students they were really interested and highly motivated in studying the course because it's part of their future profession. The results of the experiment study in the non-linguistic group seem encouraging and stimulating the further using of the teaching materials. Nevertheless, the objective figures could witness the effectiveness of the training material, as on average 56% of the experimental group made better progress with 75 to 84 points in the performance review, while 33% could get higher grades from 80 to 90 points, and 11% of the low achievers were able to prepare professional presentations in English without external assistance. Moreover, the number of students participants in the English section of the conference Modern Problems of Physics and Technology, which was held in 2019, increased, which may indicate that the students became more involved in mastering English for professional purposes, because it's an instrument of their future professional communication. And in conclusion, I must say that the presented course of blended learning, which integrates elements of a traditional approach with an interactive component of video lecturing, accompanied by assignments and a system of special exercises, could provide a framework for new methodologies of the auditory foreign language teaching and self-study for non-linguistic students. So we can conclude that the advantages of the method might consist in non-termability, constant revision of grammar and lexical material, constant recurrence of one and the same formulaic phrases in different situations, and so on. And while, those are the final words. While working on the course, we relied on the classical positions of the methodology of foreign language teaching, namely the correct setting of objects, the choice of techniques, which describe the objectives and interests of both the teacher and the students in the final results of studying. Now, thank you very much for your attention. Yes, I was just a bit nervous, and now maybe you've got some questions.
Fine.
That was.
Thank you very much. And
I'm sorry.
Are there some questions for the report?
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course. Will you please speak a little bit louder? I just.
Okay. Has the method some? I'm sorry. I will repeat. Does the method have?
Has the method?
Does the method has some disadvantages?
Sure, students sometimes are very lazy. Do you know about it? So actually, yes, of course, it has a lot of disadvantages. Having been working, me personally, having been working online 24 hours a day, yes, I must say that not all the students listen to me. So maybe a group of, so how many, 10 students, 12 students, they don't, only 3 or 4 of them actively take part in my discussion. They are tired, yes? But actually, to be more exact, the results were very good because the students, they were preparing some reports, some special reports for scientific conference. As I said in my presentation, there's problems which are really interesting to them. That's why their results were better, better than expected. If I answered this question, I don't know what to say. Okay.
Thank you. I've understood that it depends on the student personality.
It depends, yes, but we try to motivate them. But actually.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. May I have a question too? How is it is it a universal course? I think, I mean, you use it from the first year of studying.
No, yes, I didn't say that. It lasted for several years. Actually, the course was done in 2015, for the Coursera courses. Coursera, you know these courses, I think. Yes, and there I told and I explained the students the way how to produce an abstract, structured or unstructured, and gave them some set phrases, formulaic phrases, as I said in my presentation, to use them in their own abstracts, because technical students or non-linguistic students are not ready to do this task without any special preparation. That's why there were several groups which were tested during the course, but the course was not long. As I said, it was just 36 hours. So 18 seminars, you know, and low achievers in several groups made really great progress, because they remembered the set phrases, they used them in their own abstracts, and they were grammatically correct. That was the task which we set.
Yes, I think thank you very much.
Thank you.
It is very interesting. So we are short in time. So maybe some very short comment. So when do you introduce the professional terms, the professional lexics? I have seen that you wrote about physics and mathematics in
professional
English,
terms. It's not our cup of tea, if I may say so.
No?
They know them.
Okay.
Professional. I can't introduce these terms because I don't know them. You know that each area of science has its own terms.
Yes, that's why you are speaking about the general scientific.
Yes,
lexics.
I meant here the terms. I didn't say about it in detail because of the time, as you said. Yes, so we introduce general expressions, the words which may be useful in that context.
Yeah. Thank you very much.